He's a political trailblazer, an icon, and a martyr. But decades after his death, believe it or not, the fight over Harvey Milk's legacy is more heated than ever. So, let's dive in. So why are we still talking about a politician from the 1970s? Well, to get that, we actually have to start with a huge controversy that blew up just last year. Believe it or not, it all comes down to a naval ship. And this modern fight, it just perfectly frames the whole battle over Milk's place in American history. So, when the decision came down to strip Milk's name from a U.S. Navy ship, man, it ignited a firestorm. I mean, on one side, you had the administration calling it a move to restore a warrior culture, get politics out of the military. But on the other side, critics saw it as a blatant, totally spiteful attempt to just erase a hero from the history books. Okay, so who was this guy at the center of this whole storm? To really get it, we've got to go back, way back, and see how a closeted Wall Street analyst becomes the celebrated mayor of Castro Street. Milk's early life was all about reinvention. He gets pushed out of the Navy just for being gay, then fired from a finance job for his anti-war politics, and you can see how each setback just pushed him further and further from the establishment. Finally, in '72, he lands in the one city that would totally embrace him, San Francisco. He was so frustrated with the city bureaucracy, felt like they were just ignoring small business owners like him. So what does he do? He decides to take matters into his own hands. He runs for office. And get this, he turns his little camera shop into this bustling, chaotic campaign headquarters. So he lost that first race, right? But the result? Wow. It sent a shockwave through the city's political machine. We're talking almost 17,000 votes. For the first time, it was undeniable proof that an openly gay candidate could mobilize a seriously powerful new voting bloc. Okay, but here's the thing. Milk's real political genius wasn't just about rallying his own community. No, it was about his incredible, almost uncanny ability to build the most unlikely alliances you can imagine. His absolute masterstroke was the Coors boycott. Check this out. He finds a common enemy for two groups that had, zero in common, the gay community and the powerful Teamsters Union. He gets all the gay bars to boycott this anti-union, anti-gay beer company, showing everyone the community's economic muscle. And the payoff? The Teamsters start hiring openly gay drivers. It was just a brilliant piece of political jujitsu. I mean, think about what he was doing here. This is decades before a word like intersectional was on anyone's radar, but that is exactly what this was. Milk proved that different marginalized groups, just by finding that common ground, could build something way more powerful than they could ever be alone. So, after years and years of trying, a really crucial change in the city's election rules finally gives Milk his shot, his opening to turn all that activism into actual laws. And this structural change? It was everything. See, instead of needing to win over the entire city, candidates now only had to win their local district. And with his rock-solid base of support in District 5, the Castro, boom, Milk was finally propelled to this landslide victory that made headlines all across the country. And once he's in office, he delivered. Immediately. On one hand, he passes one of the strongest gay rights bills in the entire nation. But then he also shows everyone he's not just a single-issue politician. He famously tackles these quality-of-life issues like the city's much-needed and, let's be honest, pretty popular pooper-scooper law. But his defining fight, his biggest battle, came against something called Proposition 6. This was a statewide initiative aimed at purging gay teachers and, frankly, anyone who supported them right out of public schools. It was a vicious, direct attack, framing gay people as a threat to kids. Milk led the opposition with a strategy that was just so simple and so personal. Come out. He just begged people to reveal themselves to their family, their friends, their coworkers. He was betting on a core human belief, that it's a lot harder to hate someone you actually know. And you know what? He was right. On Election Day, the initiative was absolutely crushed by over 1 million votes. This victory, this should have been the absolute high point. But a simmering political and personal conflict was just about to erupt into a national tragedy. Yeah, that victory against Prop 6 should have been this moment of pure triumph. But just 20 days later, 20 days, a simmering feud with a former colleague would just explode, plunging the entire city into tragedy. Dan White, he was Milk's chief rival on the board. He really represented an older, more conservative San Francisco and was feeling more and more alienated. So he abruptly resigns his seat. But then he changes his mind and demands his job back. Milk successfully lobbied the mayor to say no, basically sealing White's political fate. So at the trial for assassinating both Milk and the mayor, the defense comes up with this now infamous argument. People call it the Twinkie Defense. But here's the thing. They didn't argue that junk food caused him to do it. No, they argued that his junk food habit was a symptom of a debilitating depression that made him incapable of premeditation. And, incredibly, the jury bought it. White wasn't convicted of murder. He got the lesser charge of voluntary manslaughter. The sentence for assassinating 2 public officials? Just over 7.5 years. The city just erupted in disbelief and rage. It sparked the infamous White Night riots. So even though his life was cut short after just 11 months in office, Milk's death, in a way, transformed him from a politician into this powerful, enduring symbol. You see, Milk feared he would be a target, so he'd recorded this political will, this tape, to be played if he was assassinated. And his words from that tape, well, they became his most enduring legacy. That central message, you've got to give them hope. It became a rallying cry. It framed hope not as some passive feeling, but as a crucial, active tool for survival. In the years that followed, his transformation from politician to icon was, well, complete. He was honored with the Presidential Medal of Freedom, that's the nation's highest civilian award, and his story was told to millions in an Oscar-winning film, really cementing his place as a cornerstone of American civil rights history. And that brings us right back to where we started, doesn't it? Back to that central question. When a person becomes a symbol, who gets to decide what they stand for? The fight over a name on a ship just proves that the battle for Harvey Milk's legacy, and for the very definition of hope itself, is far, far from over.